Hello there everyone, my name is Elman and today we are in Arma. I am here to teach you how to use Task Force Radio. Initially, obviously, that you have installed in Task Force Radio, insert the plugin into your TeamSpeak 3 plugin folder, and otherwise than that, you should be good. You get in game, you launch Task Force Radio, make sure that you have your user config and so on. Once you're in game, I can show you here in the virtual arsenal, you have virtual arsenal, you have communication, you have the different radios that are given to you with Task Force Radio. You have the ANPRC 148 that originally comes from Acre. You have the ANPRC 152 that tends to be the most used one with milsim groups. 154 is a less detailed version of the 152 in my opinion. FADAC and PNR one. They are used by the OPFOR units or enemy combatants, as well and as RF radio, which is a very short range radio. I believe it only reaches up between 500 to 1,000 meters away, and it only allows you to switch channel. So we're going to utilize the 152. That's the one I'm going to teach you today. So how do we open the radio? We hit left control P. It opens up your radio. Currently it's a bit dark. Let's see if we can... Nope. Let's go back here. So initially, the first main buttons we want to look at, we have decrease and increase volume up on the top. So you can left click to decrease it, right click to increase it. Then we have the main window, which is the current frequency. This is the current channel that you're on, current frequency. All this is markable and editable. These main buttons here doesn't do anything because since you can type with your numpad and so on. If you don't have a numpad, I believe you can type with normal ones. We can clear frequency. We can click here. It just clears the frequency. And then I can hit ENT. But it's going to place me automatically on 1 because you can only use a frequency value between 30 to 512. So, for example, we say we want to be on 110.1. I hit ENT as of set frequency or enter. And then from there, we can talk on radio. You talk on radio by holding down your caps lock. Make sure that if you're playing on a server, you unbind your multiplayer push-to-talk key in your control settings option because that key is by default caps lock. And simply by holding down this button, you can see that it's working. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I'm obviously not going to get a response. There's nobody on the server at the current point. So we're going to go ahead and open up the radio once again. And we can switch between channels here. You can switch between 1 and 2 here. But you can also, if you want to do it easier, you use the numpads without marking anything. Switch to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it doesn't go up to 9. It goes all the way up to 8. Necessarily, you don't need to go up all the way up to, you don't need to use the other channels generally, because what you just do if you have multiple people on different radio frequency, you just have the frequencies. That's the only thing you change if you have multiple groups of people in combat and so on. Then initially what we have the speakers as well. You can turn on. That's nothing I can show you right now because I don't have another individual with me. It allows, if someone's talking to you on radio, it will sound like it's coming from a speaker, so anybody nearby will hear you. I would advise you to not utilize it in PvP scenarios. Unless you want people to come to you, of course. We have, we're going to move on to, we're going to do additional channel. It's the last thing we're going to do. We're going to go over to stereo settings. You can go in stereo settings, so you can have it so I only hear communication that comes in from my left ear. I can have it on only right, and then I can have left and right as well, so it comes in from both. Generally, a good thing with that is we say you have 2 radios running an additional channel. You have the main radio, which is your fire team, on your left ear, and on your right ear. But you can do vice versa as well. On your right ear, you can have someone important that you need to speak to, air, armor, your commanding officer, etc., etc. So right now we are on channel 110.1. We say we want to go and do an additional frequency. So when doing this additional frequency, we want to make sure that we select channel 2 by hitting numpad 2. Right now it is on 42, no clue why. And we're gonna hit set additional channel. We want this one on 110.2. hit ENT for setting the frequency. You can double check by hitting numpad 1, go back to the original frequency. This is the one that's utilized by hitting caps lock. This other one is utilized by hitting your short range additional channel frequency. My button on that is T. That can be found in the settings. I will go over that shortly. And so from here we hit numpad 1. You always want to make sure that you're on the main frequency, because otherwise you can never hear the main frequency if you're on the other one. So we'll do a test here. We'll go over the first initial 110.1. Radio check 110.1. As you show up in the bottom right corner, I'm on frequency 110.1. And now we test the additional. Radio check on 110.2. That's the additional one that shows up on the side there. So that's the easy way to just set up additional frequencies. What we can do here, and I can show you guys, we'll go into config, we'll go into our controls, we're going to go into our config of add-ons, and then TFAR. And we're going to go down and find the lovely button. Here you go. You got the shortwave transmit, which is caps lock, and then you got the shortwave transmit additional. Currently, the additional for long range is Y. No, I haven't really had a reason to use the additional frequency since you tend to be on command net normally. So that's a general idea of that one. What we're going to go over as well with you guys is that I'm going to go over long range radios. It was not intentionally in the beginning that I was going to go over it, but I believe that it's necessary because it can be good to know. So what we need for that is that we need a backpack. It's a radio backpack. We're just going to locate the correct one. Nope. Yeah, we can use this one. This is the 1523G. Let me double check. This one you open with Alt-P. Yep, this one looks good. It works very much a similar way. You can switch between the channels. Or you can't, let's see. Yeah, you can switch between the long range channels by holding down control and then hitting the numpad buttons. This also triggers my Ace animations. You have the general idea of the same way. You do it everything exactly the same way. You can set the additional channels on the long range as well. You set the frequency, then you can set the channels here as well in difference to the other one. So it's pretty much the same thing. You can use the speaker function here as well. You can choose what ear you want it on with stereo settings here. This is generally the same thing. The only main difference is that the short range radio only reaches up to 5 kilometers, the ANPRC 152. Well, the long range can reach up to 20 to 25 kilometers, dependable on terrain. So in the whole terrain situation here that I can bring up, let me see, I should have my flashlight. There. Let's move that out of the way. So in the terrain situation here, for example, I'm currently in base. So I'm currently located around 058113. So we say, if I would have somebody on long range and I tried to reach them and they're down here, that wouldn't be too much of an issue because then you got all right terrain and everything. But if this individual would be standing here, he's still within my range of the radio, but what he has a big mountain in the way, and therefore the radio waves won't reach him that good, and they will crack up our radio or might not even be able to hear exactly what he's saying. But I hope this a bit of the tutorial and more understanding of Task Force Radio was helpful to you guys. And if you enjoy it, then let me know in the comments below and like the video. And I will continue making more within Ace and so on. Thank you and take care, people.